I got 5:30. Has everybody else got 5:30? 5:35. We're 5 minutes behind the show. So we're going to go ahead and start this and kind of make it a little more home feeling. We'll just sit out front and kind of do away with this table. If you've got a question, we'll get you a microphone, or you can come up to that one over there. I think since we've got Colden online, we'll go ahead and start with him. I'll let him introduce himself. So, Mr. Colden, can you hear us?
Yes, sir.
Okay, sir, we're going to kick off with you.
All right. My name's Colden Rich. I'm vice president at EHT. We're a mid-sized civil engineering consulting firm located in Abilene. Vast majority of our work is water and wastewater. So we were contacted by the city there's some issues related to the water system, related to disinfectant residual throughout the distribution system. So we've been working with city staff to try to figure out the best steps forward and approaches to addressing the issue. We were selected by the city a couple weeks ago at a city council meeting and actually got a proposal executed last week. So we've started working on putting together what we feel like is going to be necessary to address the issue for the long term for the city's distribution system to maintain an adequate disinfectant residual in the distribution system. So we've actually gotten that started and been working on it for the last couple of weeks. We've got the initial design parameters completed. We're working now on putting together the design documents for submission to the TCEQ. That's the Texas Commission on Environmental Quality that regulates safe drinking water for the state of Texas. We will be submitting those documents to the TCEQ within the next week or so in an attempt to get those approved. And then as we're going through that approval process, we'll be working with the city to try to procure the equipment for the installation for a disinfectant residual boosting station at the take point on the north side of town, just north of the railroad tracks over by the gin, in an effort to try to maintain a higher residual throughout the distribution system. So hopefully that we won't have as many issues with low residuals throughout the distribution system in the future. It'll also prevent us from having to flush near as much water as we're having to right now to maintain the distribution system disinfectant residual. So that's kind of in a nutshell what we're doing. I'm happy to answer any specific questions that you have related to the project or EHT or myself or anything regarding the project or what we're doing.
Okay, thank you, sir. At this time, we're going to open up. Anybody have any questions for Mr. Colton Rich? Colton, can you explain to the crowd your local ties here?
Sure. I have a lot of local ties to the city of Quanah. So my grandparents lived in Quanah for decades and decades. My mom and uncle are proud graduates of Quanah High School. My grandparents are Franklin and Shirley Moore, and Craig and Catherine Moore. Now Kathy Rich. That's my mom. So I've grown up going to Quanah. I've been in Quanah many a time. So I'm well familiar with the city. I hold close ties to it, so it means a lot to be able to have this opportunity to work with the city and try to fix a problem that we should be able to remedy fairly quickly.
Thank you, sir. Any other question? Here we come. 1 second, I'm going to bring in the mic.
This one's on. That one's on.
Can you hear me?
I could hear you, yes, sir.
I was wondering if y'all had plans for an arterial loop system or what we're going to be doing if we're still going to have this manifold gridded system that has to be flushed.
Sure. So the first step that we're going to try to implement to address the initial issue is going to be the implementation of a disinfectant residual boosting station at the take point. So right now, part of the issue is that the water, bulk wholesale water coming in from Greenbelt Water Supply doesn't have an adequate residual to maintain the required residual throughout the distribution system. So that's why they're having to flush to get fresh water in more quickly. So if we can maintain a higher residual in that water, obviously it'll help to propagate that disinfectant throughout the distribution system. The next step, and what we've talked to the city about, what we'd like to do is build a water distribution model, which is essentially a computer model of all of the water lines in the distribution system for the city. What that allows us to do is see areas that either have high or low water age, high demands, low demands, things like that, and look for potential opportunities to implement improvements such as an arterial loop or upsizing lines to make sure that we have adequate distribution pressure throughout the distribution system and that demands are being met where high demands are supposed to be, and that we don't have any bottlenecks in the system. So that next step is going to be building that distribution system model, and then that'll give us the opportunity to see which arterial lines would be most beneficial and what size those should be to get the most benefit to the city out of that. So that very well, an arterial loop may very well be a long-term solution to the city. But like I said, our initial first step to address the immediate issue is to try to increase disinfectant residual as it's coming into the distribution system.
One more question. If we add a booster system and get the residuals up high, the way I understand chlorine to be tough on the pipes, and these are already old and aging. So I'm
Sure.
wondering how increasing the chlorine in the pipes is going to help us.
Sure. So technically, we'll be adding what they refer to as a chloramine, which is a slightly less oxidating disinfectant than straight chlorine. It's a combination of chlorine and ammonia. So it's a longer lasting disinfectant, but it's not as strong an oxidant as like a chlorine. So as far as oxidation of pipes and things like that, it shouldn't have near as much issues as far as that is concerned than like a free chlorine system. It might have some issues, some issues as it relates to further degradation of the pipes, but no more so than what you would ultimately have if you were maintaining an adequate residual currently. Typically, what we see though is it's kind of the opposite effect. If you don't have an adequate residual, you tend to have a biologic film that grows on those distribution pipes, and then it winds up kind of propagating itself by using up whatever disinfectant residual that you have. So increasing the disinfection residual will help to decrease some of that biological growth in the distribution system. And, you know, every distribution system is going to have issues as it relates to, especially aging distribution system. They'll have issues as it relates to leaks and things like that. And so the other kind of big step that we're looking for, and actually next Friday, we'll be submitting on the city's behalf funding request to the Texas Water Development Board for distribution improvements. That'll include replacing water lines throughout the distribution system. So hopefully, we won't impact the distribution system too much, but we'll be able to replace those aging lines with some grant funds and other funding opportunities that we're seeking on the city's behalf.
Absolutely. I have one more question for you, and don't want to take up all y'all's time, but I was also wondering who would be running the chloramine booster station, and would that person be trained in this? And
Sure.
is it,
Yeah,
or is it
that's
all
a good
going to
question.
rely on?
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good question.
Yeah.
So the state of Texas requires anybody working on the distribution system to be licensed to operate. And so the city has licensed operators that will.
One, we only have one licensed
Right.
operator.
Uh,
He's stretched
so
pretty
we-
thin.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
He's stretched pretty thin. I mean, the
Sure.
way I understand it, he works his
We've
butt off.
got two. We have a subcontractor that we pay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And then also to EHT, we have licensed operators as well. So we can assist if that is ultimately deemed necessary. But yes, the simple answer to your questions, they will be trained. We'll train everybody that needs to be trained to operate this system and make sure that it's functioning to its greatest extent possible.
Great. Thank you.
Yes,
Any
sir.
more questions? We got another one coming on deck here. I don't think he can see us. I was thinking see him.
All right, so the first question I have is, so we're only going to be getting one chlorinator system, or are we going to be getting two?
So right now, the initial attempt is going to be a request, I should say, is going to be for one chloramine boosting station at the take point. Like I said, once we get that installed and up and going, we will also look to build a distribution system model. That model will help us to identify the most efficient locations for any additional booster stations we might need. The concern that we have right now is that if we just start throwing booster stations out in the distribution system, it may not be the best place to put it, just based on water demands and line sizes and things like that. So the water model is a big design tool for us to help us identify most appropriate locations for potential boosting stations elsewhere throughout the distribution system. So I can't say that we're only going to have one. I can't say that we're going to have more than one right now. All I can say is that our first attempt at remedying the problem is going to be increasing the disinfectant residual at the take point, and then we'll go from there.
And the last question, what is y'all's initial projected cost for the city for your first round of doing the chlorination system?
So we haven't gotten that far yet. So it'll be based off of the design size. So obviously, the bigger the system, the more obviously the more cost there's going to be associated with it. Right now, we're looking at a gas chlorine system with LAS. It's a liquid ammonium sulfate ammonia system for the addition, and it'll be in a small kind of a doghouse building. So initial estimates are probably going to be somewhere around 100 to 125,000, give or take. Don't quote me on those numbers. Those are off the cuff numbers, but I think we'll probably be pretty close to that. As we get a little bit further along in the design here later this week, we'll be coordinating with manufacturers to get more firm cost numbers to present to the city.
Thank you. Any more questions for the engineer? Hold on a second.
I'm just looking, what kind of timeline are we looking at?
So we're going to try to make this as quick as possible. We deal with the TCQ quite frequently. I had a meeting with them today. The intent is to submit this to the city or to the TCQ and then try to get this done as quickly as possible. Their typical review time for these type of documents is 60 days. We're going to try to utilize that time to procure all of the equipment while they're doing the reviews, so that as soon as we get that approval, we'll be have a contractor ready to go to implement these improvements.
Any more questions?
Colden, will you clarify to the city, the people of the city, who TCEQ is and how you're governed by them, please?
Sure. The TCEQ is the Texas Commission on Environmental Quality. So they dictate the rules and regulations as it relates to the drinking water system. So anything that happens in the distribution system has to be reviewed and approved by the TCEQ. They're also the ones that are responsible for evaluating the distribution system. So anybody that complains, they wind up coming out and doing investigations. They do periodic investigations regardless of complaints, to make sure that the distribution system and the water system in general is being kept up to the standards that they require. So you have those type of inspections periodically. Most of the time, it's on a 2 or 3 year cycle. They come through and they do everything. They check everything from paperwork, documentation, to calibration on equipment, to disinfectant residuals throughout the distribution system, pressures throughout the distribution system. So anything about the water system is regulated by the TCEQ, and they're ultimately regulated by the EPA.
Thank you. Any more questions? The last chance. Once we hit the button, he's gone. He's got another appointment he's got to be at. So, well, Colden, I don't think we have any more questions for you. If you
All right.
you got anything, Mr. Jackson, you got anything? Cindy, Lisa, Brian.
Well, I'm sorry I couldn't be there in person. I wish I could have been there. I appreciate y'all's flexibility and letting me join virtually, but I look forward to being at a city council meeting here soon.
Brian, you got anything for him? Okay, Colden, you have a great weekend, and thank you for taking your time. And if there are some after questions, we'll send it to you in an email and see if we can't get an answer.
Feel free. Yeah. So the city has my contact information. I have my cell phone with me all the time. I'll answer emails whenever. So feel free to ask, and I'll get you. If I don't know the answer, I know somebody who does.
Okay, thank you so much. We appreciate you. You have a great weekend.
Y'all have a good day.
You too, sir.
Thanks.
Okay, the next part of our water, a lot of people are asking where we get our water from. Our water comes from Greenbelt, and we happen to have the head Mr. Greenbelt guy here, Mr. Bobby Kidd, and we have our local representative. It's a board of directors here. I'll give you a little bit of backstory on that. It was September of 1964. Is that when it come? 68. Okay. So we were still getting water from the creek in 1965 and 60. Okay. I looked at the contract, and there were some pretty interesting names on that contract. I saw one of the daughters sitting back there. Miss Slayton, where'd she go? Oh, your daddy was on there. Mr. Rose was on there. There were several. I'm gonna hurt somebody's feelings by not having it up here to read everybody's name, and that wasn't intentional. But there were some pretty cool names on that piece of paper that we saw. So $4,500,000, I believe, is what it cost the city of Quanah to bring it from 11 million. Yes, sir. Okay. All right. Well, so basically, the water comes from up around Clarendon up to us. It comes into a vault. From that vault, we pump it to the water tower. Okay, so it's gravity flowed to the water tower and then throughout our system. Okay, but we pump it from the vault to our tower, or it's gravity flow? Okay, there's no pumps involved at all, so it's gravity flow the whole way. So if you've got any questions about the Greenbelt water, I've got the two experts here that can answer it. So at this time, we're going to open up for questions, unless I left something out on the... Does anybody have any questions for the Greenbelt? Would you explain how much is in the line?
Yeah, there's 33 million gallons of water between here and Clarendon, Texas. It takes 15 days, like right now, to get here. That's part of the issue with your residual. It's been in suspension, it's been in contact with the chlorine for that long, and then this is where you also get your THM issue. The LAS, which I was kind of concerned, which Colton answered that too, he's not going to just do chlorine, he's going to do LAS. So one of the problems is not really that you run out of chlorine down here, you run out of ammonia, free ammonia. So that'll take care of, that may do more good than the chlorine boost, actually. Well, chloramine, something, I'd never heard of it until about 97. And we had to comply with safe drinking water rules. And so we'd never heard of a THM before that either. But this is something that you start feeding, you feed chloramine to keep from forming THMs. But once you form a THM, you can't remove it. I mean, it's there. And how harmful it is, it's carcinogenic, supposedly. It's been labeled as a carcinogenic. You'd probably have to drink 1,000 gallons of water a day for it to have any effect on you, probably, if I was guessing. But depending on how much water you drank, I think I'd be worried a lot about a lot more stuff besides that. But they have an optimization class that teaches you about chloramine. Brian was at the optimization class that we had, be 2 years this coming month. But he is aware of chloramine and how it works, and it's not an easy process. And they can train you, and it's gonna do things that it's not supposed to do. You have nitrification events. This is the biofilm he's talking about. And the only way to get rid of that then is to do a free burn. And one of the problems down here, so far away from the plant, you don't really have issues until you get down here in this latter end of it. And we don't have THMs until we get in the Quanah area. But whenever last June, y'all were having such residual issues, we turned the ammonia off and did a free burn for 4 months. Y'all didn't have any residual issues during that time, but about everybody up and down the system got busted for THMs. So we turned it back on in October, turned the ammonia feed back on. But it's a kind of you're kind of wrestling with a demon there, one way or the other. It's not an easy problem, but I don't know. It's not something really. I hope the LAS will help. I know the chlorine by itself won't, but I don't think boosting's the answer to it. And the thing is, a lot of times y'all's problem is not that you don't have enough chlorine, you have too much, if that makes any sense to you. And it'll actually, your residual will go down even though there's too much chlorine in the water. It's kind of a hard deal to understand, but you start having nitrification, the biofilm he's talking about. I just call it nitrification, and the only way to get rid of that then is to turn the ammonia off and do just chlorine. The state will let you do one burn a year, 30 days. 30 days is not enough time from Clarendon to Crowell, Texas and Quanah. You need 30 days, but it takes 2 weeks to get here. So we really need 6, but they won't give you 6. The state, they got, whatever the book says is what it's got to be, and unfortunately, that book doesn't fit everybody. But
So everybody can hear, basically, if we get too much of the film in the walls, that's when we have to do the free burn. And if we have our own booster, that gives us a longer time to burn it
Yeah.
and send it. Is that?
after, one of the things that's hurting too is lack of flow. Of course, we're in stage 4 of our drought plan, so everybody's using water. So it makes the problem worse. It's kind of a bad deal.
When Senator Perry was here, he was talking about, I can't remember the dollar amount, but a lot of that was going to go to dig out the tributaries and stuff for Greenbelt Lake. Is that, you
Not
hadn't
anything
heard that?
No, we're doing a project right now. It's a well project. We should be in the final stages of it, but we're not because of the red tape that you run through dealing with the state of Texas, the Water Development Board, the TCEQ. It hasn't even got to review to them yet. They say 60 days. People that I know say they can't get anything done in 60 days. So they've had mass turnover down there. There's new people in there that you're never going to talk to the same person hardly twice.
Can you kind of explain how the wells, when they come online, what they're going to do?
Well, the wells, what that'll be is kind of take the place of the lake. As far as digging the tributaries of the lake out, there's no plan for that. But it's not the issue anyway. It's just the lack of rain, the lack of runoff. Uh, the well field, we're going to hopefully go to bid on the remainder wells. We've got one completed well that we did in the first phase. We did 5 test holes and completed one well. I was up there yesterday with the power company. They're getting ready to build power lines. They say about 3 months to get the material, about 3 months to build the power lines. About 17 miles of line that's going to have to be redone and reconstructed. So we built roads, but then we're fixing to have a public hearing up there in the next month just to take care of the environmental stuff. You have to have environmental review, archaeological review.
Yes, sir.
This has taken months and months and months.
Has anybody got any questions for Mr. Kidd? Hold on, I'm going to steal your microphone just a second.
Can you hear me okay? Okay, I got a question for you. Chlorine, like in your swimming pool and backyards, chlorine dissipates by light, air, wind, time, whatever else. So my understanding is that when the chlorine and the water comes from Childress or Clarendon or wherever it comes from up here, by the time it gets to Quanah, we're low on chlorine, which is not what you just said over here, if I heard it correct, and I'm hard of hearing, sir, so no disrespect whatsoever. So you're telling me that the chlorine is pretty high coming from Clarendon to get down here to Quanah, and then by the time it gets to Quanah, we don't have enough chlorine. So is that reason why that we don't have enough people using the water to keep it flowing and keeping fresh water in? Or what is our story over here why Quanah has so much trouble? That is my question to you, sir.
Can you hear me?
I didn't do that. Who's got reading glasses? I can't see that.
For us to get down here with adequate residual in Quanah, we leave the plant with over 3 parts of chlorine residual. That's an awful lot of chlorine. That way we make it to Childress, hopefully with 1.5 parts. If we get much lower than that, the residual is going to be a lot lower here. And that, unfortunately, boosting it at Childress, it's too far off. We do boost it at Childress. And whenever you're not flowing any water, you just don't get enough, your residual drops down just because of the detention time. Like it's the time.
The city water system in Quanah is set up 5,000 to 6,000 people instead of 2,000, and we can't use enough water to keep it turning. Is that our problem?
Yes, you have very large mains scattered all over. You have a lot of water system here for the amount of folks that you have anymore. Yes, that's a lot of the problem too. Boosting it's going to help probably, but that's not going to be your total. Eventually you're going to have to start replacing some water lines.
Any more questions? can't hear it on the live feed.
Mr. Kidd?
Yes.
Yeah, what I was wondering about was the strategy behind these long, drawn-out free chlorine burns when we've been months and months with zero chlorine residual. I tested water myself for over a year, and it seems that every year that's what we're doing, going from zero chlorine residual throughout the system to going to, well, I've tested it as high as 7 parts per million at residents before and have that all logged with TCEQ.
There would be no way you could get 7 parts down here. It would be impossible. I don't know what you're seeing. There's other things that show up. I don't know what kind of test kits you're using either.
Well, I was using the one for the city. I worked for the city. I was trained by 2 PhDs from TCEQ on how to test the water.
I have seen the sample getter that comes and gets our samples. He'll get 5 or 6 parts. You wash the bottle out.
5 or 6 parts is pretty high. 4 is too high.
Yes, that's a great, but I would tell you that you're not seeing 7 parts down here.
Well, I have seen 7 parts, and I have
I believe the
recorded that.
comparator probably showed that, but there's no way that you can get 7 parts from where you're starting at. It would take an awful lot of chlorine to put.
Okay, so what's the strategy behind raising it to 5 or 6 parts after going months and months with 0? I mean, isn't that really the reason for the trihalomethane?
We do not raise it to 5 parts.
You didn't raise it to 5 points?
No.
But you just said that
We don't leave 5 parts. We leave with 3 parts at the filter plant.
all the time is lead with 3 parts. So
Yeah.
we should have never gotten
That's-
readings at
that's
5
kind
or
of our
6
daily
parts.
go.
Is that what you're saying?
And if we're only boosting at Childress like today, 7.5 pounds, you do the math on it, add the flow, you can't get to 7 parts.
Well, can you get to 5 or 6 like you said a while ago?
No.
Well, I wonder how I was mistesting that then. So what my question is what the strategy is in running these long, drawn-out free chlorine burns instead of just doing a breakpoint chloramination cycle like everyone else does.
Well, breakpoint would take months. And if you just turn the ammonia feed down and tried to do the burn very slowly, it would take forever. It just doesn't work.
It would take forever to get to what?
Yes, to get rid of the film in the water, the nitrification.
The nitrification?
Yes.
But I never found any nitrification. What I found was 0
checking.
chlorine to
How are you
extreme
checking for-
chlorine.
How are you checking for nitrification?
Yes, of course I was, and recorded it. It's
how
all
are
at
you-
the city.
How are you testing for it?
I was testing it with the DR900 at the city.
Yeah, you've got a DR900? Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Like I say, I was being assisted by 2 TCEQ
so if you're getting-
PhDs.
if you're seeing a nitrification event, you would see extremely high ammonia.
Yes, and I never saw high monochloramine or high ammonia. Never even saw what would be a standard for monochloramine or ammonia.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know how.
Mostly what I've seen is,
I
or
mean,
what it
I
looks
don't- I
like
don't-
here is that we're just getting free chlorine burns and then months and months of no chlorine whatsoever.
We do free ammonia test every day at the plant. At the filter plant, it's about a 0.55. Down here, I would say you probably got a 0.05. To have nitrification, it's got to be a lot higher than that.
That's my question.
Going back to Mr. Oh, he was.
Sir, coming from the Water District, I appreciate you coming here today, but I think everybody in this room right here, the one question that everybody's going to ask is, what are we going to do to fix it, and what does it take? Everybody in this room is residents here. We love Quanah. We got to have drinking water. We got to have shower water. You got to have laundry water. What is the plan going forward with wells or whatever else to secure that water system for the long term that is a safe, healthy drinking supply for this whole town?
Nobody has told me that our water is unsafe.
Okay, that's fair enough.
Yeah, you're having an issue inside the city limits of Quanah. We don't have an issue on the distribution system.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, so thinking about the long-term effects, okay, of everything. You guys are building the wells, right? And we're working on that part. But our numbers and our percentages are still going down at the lake, okay? The lake is not gonna get any fuller unless God comes down and blesses us. I mean, that's the bottom line of it, right? Okay. So with that being said, you guys are gonna struggle up there as well with getting water down here, right? Right.
Well, when the new well field comes online, we'll be able to get 900 million gallons a year out of that well field.
Is that gonna be able to get it over the 10 where it was last year? With everything that's going on in our area?
Over the what?
Get it over the 10% that it was last year
Well,
with everything
last
that's
year-
going on?
Last year, system-wide, we only used 800 and something million, so 900 million would essentially do the whole thing.
It'll jump us up
But
with
it's not,
with
it's,
the increase of population that Childress has got, the increase of population Quanah has got, and all the way in between, because it's just gonna get worse. You guys are gonna be able to bounce that lake up and supply us.
we're not gonna bounce the lake up.
Well, I mean, bounce it up to 10 as
This
to where
well
it
water will
was.
not go into the lake.
Okay, but you're not gonna be able to get it back to 10% as it was last year?
10%.
It was 10% full?
Oh, you're talking about the elevation of the lake?
Yes.
No, that's not something that we're gonna control with the well field.
Okay,
The wells, you can't discharge the wells into the lake.
okay,
Yeah.
okay. So,
If you did, legally, you can't make the lake rise with it. You could discharge the wells in,
uh-huh,
but it'd be illegal for us to make the lake rise with the wells.
okay,
We're not, individuals can do pump ponds and stuff, but
right,
Greenbelt can. There's altogether different kind of set of rules.
okay.
And the groundwater district would sue us too.
Okay, so on what, I mean, leading up to that is this question, okay? If there ever becomes a point where you guys aren't able to produce enough water to come past Childress or whatever, are you gonna start cutting off Cruel first and then Quanah? Is that how that would go? Because, I mean, if we don't get no rain, I mean, ultimately, we're seriously doomed.
I think we're seriously, this next summer is gonna be a big hurdle to get over.
Yeah,
And the well field is not gonna be online by this summer,
right,
hopefully by the next summer,
hopefully,
but who knows?
right,
You know.
right. So for Quanah's future and to secure her future, I mean, I'm not trying to bounce you out of any business or anything, but do you think it would be in Quanah's best interest to look for another avenue of water to resource Quanah?
I think if you can find one and you can afford it, I would have one.
Okay.
Yes. I would never tell anybody not to have their own supply of water.
Right, right.
Yeah.
I just know that all the problems that we're having from you all the way to down here, and then we're
Well-
looking at what is going on in our area. I mean, it's just gonna fail. I'm not trying to be
Well,
rude.
If we run out of water and unable to put water in the system, we'll theoretically run out of water in Clarendon first. Y'all have 33 more million gallons coming this way.
But yeah,
But
if you
it would
cut,
eventually just be a domino effect.
but so y'all would cut off Pearl first to back that off.
There's no plan that says that.
Well, I didn't say there's a plan. I can read between the lines very well. There's no plan.
Yeah.
But ultimately, that would be what would happen because you're going to secure Clarendon first because it's the closest. It would cost less maintenance and less everything like that.
Clarendon would have some other options for water.
Okay.
Yes.
And
There's water around there
Right,
that could be potable with a little work.
right,
But they've looked at that too, and they couldn't afford a standalone system.
right,
It's $7 million for them.
right. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, thank you.
A potable drinking water well is about $1 million.
1 second.
Okay, my question is, what does it take to take this old jip water that's around Quanah and make it drinkable? What does it cost? to put a plant up and clean the gyp out of it and make this water here locally drinkable. There is some well water. Quanah, I'm not from Quanah originally, but my understanding was that Quanah used to have a well field and supplied Quanah with water. So I'm just asking, what would it take for the city of Quanah to get their own well field and treat that water, and if they have leftover water, sell it to Greenbelt or Red River, whoever's in charge of that authority, and send it on down the pipeline? Thank you, sir.
Quanah's water wouldn't meet the drinking water standards at this current time. It was gyp water, I understood. I don't know much about Quanah's water from back in the days. I didn't come along that far along. I've been here a long time, but not that long. But you, you, the state, you can't just turn any kind of water into a public water system. You can do it individually, but you can't put it into a public water system unless it meets the standards. There are people out there building RO plants. You could RO this water, brackish water, and make that work. What it would cost, I have no idea. There was a company here, though I know that was here a year or so ago. They're in the business of building RO plants, and they'll build them, fund them, put them online for you, and you just got to pay for it. I have no idea. No, I do not. Yeah, I do not have any idea what it would cost. Yeah.
I was just wondering, is Greenbelt going to supply Iron, the data center out here, with water?
We are not.
You do?
We are not.
Not?
No.
Do you know where they get their water?
They have a well. They build the Bitcoin bunch that went in there first, bought some property, and my understanding is they drilled a well. They have a well out there.
Okay, so
And
Greenbelt's not going to be
the data
supplying.
center was actually going to be Farm to Market Road back this side and to the south, and they asked for water. And so whenever they didn't get it, they moved up with the Bitcoin guys.
Okay, thank you.
But they're not getting it from us, no.
I got one. So y'all supply us the water, but if we're in a bull ban, you can't fix it or explain to us how to fix it. We just got to deal with it.
Well,
Because you said that nobody's told you you had a problem up there. Well, you the one who sells us water here. So we're telling you we have a problem here because we're in a bull ban. So how are we supposed to fix that, or how are you supposed to fix that? Because you
have a
sell it.
low, yeah, you have a low residual problem, and honestly, I thought we were making some strides on it coming up, but it hasn't come up just yet. It corrected itself a lot this last week, but he's still not able to get over 0.5 all over his system, I guess.
So this meeting down here is really, you ain't gonna give us no kind of information.
Well, I didn't know
that's
that
what we're supposed to.
I came to listen. I didn't know that I was.
Oh, no, we was told you. was
Nobody
supposed
asked me to
to- no,
speak.
Yeah, you were
Yeah.
supposed to be explaining this to us,
Nobody
how our
told me
water's
that.
gonna be so good and,
Yeah,
oh, and now we're gonna cut me off. Okay.
Yeah.
That's good, I'm good.
no, nobody told me I came to be. I came to listen to the engineer,
I said I'm done.
but.
Okay, I'm confused. Uh, and it may just be me. If we can only be on a free burn for 30 days as per the state, how were we on a free burn from June to October last year?
Everybody got a letter of non-compliance. That's what happens if you fall out of compliance, you get a letter. It's not something you have to do a boil water for, though. Having THMs, you just have to notify your customers. Which I'm sure y'all do every year anyway. Quanah has a THM problem all the time. Not a-
THM problem and the free burn, he goes into free burn, we all know this. We're all aware of this. I fill a report out, it's very small, we fill a report out, then everything's good. Everybody busts it down the line, we're in the burn. That's just the way it is. I've been here 3.5 years, 4 years when I took over the water service. I've had 2 PhDs. I've had training. We had not figured this thing out. I've been working with Mr. Kidd. We've been trying to figure this thing out. I mean, nobody's got an answer. People in this audience ain't got an answer. I've been messing with this thing a long time. Y'all are grilling Bobby. It's not his fault. All Bobby Kidd has got to do is be legal at the entry point. Once, once it leaves that entry point, it's on us. So whatever happened years ago in the contract or whatever, I mean, once it leaves, it's us. I mean, y'all are talking to all the people in this, but you're talking to the guy that checks this water every day, pulls these samples every month. I'm here to tell you, we've been fighting this. I've been fighting it. Have I not? I've been fighting this thing. Just didn't start overnight. This has been going on. It's been going on. Probably a lot longer than what you know.
Yeah, through the years, there's been several Kroll, Red River, not particularly Quanah. They hired an engineer a few years ago. He was going to work out the THM issue. He he came to the meeting, never came back.
There
Yes.
is an answer.
Residual and
I don't,
THMs.
I don't want to contradict Brian, but there is an answer, and it's 25 to 30 million dollars for new pipes in the city of Quanah, Texas. So if anybody has any magic wand or any golden pot that we can find, hey, I'm all eyes. Help me find it. If we could find 25 or 30 million bucks, we would all have new pipes. We'd all have fresh water. And Bobby wouldn't have a problem. But the problem is we don't have 25 or 30 million dollars. And we're not going to probably be able to get 25 or 30 million dollars in Quanah, Texas for 2,200 residents. The state representatives, the state dignitaries, they're not going to do anything to try to help Quanah, Texas, because we have 2,200 votes. They're going to help a town that has 22,000 or 220,000 votes. So we've got to understand that we're in a heck of a shape, and we've got to try to figure out how we can dig ourselves out of this hole as economically as we can without assassinating each other. And I hate to break the bad news, but I just don't see any way in the world that we're ever going to be able to replace all the lines in Quanah, Texas for 25, 30 million bucks. I mean, if I'm wrong, I'll be the first to admit it. If somebody will tell me how we can do it and help me find the golden pot, I'm all for it.
Any more questions?
Thank you, John Curtis. Mr. Kidd, I know you're getting a lot of fingers pointed at you, and I'm sorry for that. But my understanding is when that water leaves your facility and comes to Quanah, you did everything that you could on your side to get everything right. When it comes to Quanah, it becomes our problem in Quanah. It's not Greenbelt's problem. It's not Red River's problem. As the city of Quanah, we got to figure this out, guys, and everybody's got to quit all this nonsense and this squabbling and figure out, we know the problem. Let's work the solution to figure it out for us that live here. Don't point the fingers at the man over here that is up there pumping the water, putting the chemicals in it to get it correct for us, because it ain't his problem. Don't blame Greenbelt. Don't blame Red River. It's Quanah's problem. And whatever we need to do to secure water in the long term, yes, it's Mr. Kidd's problem to figure that out, to get it to us. And once he gets it to us, it's our problem to figure out how to take care of it. And our infrastructure is not in shape for that. So Greenbelt and Red River, that's not our problem. The problem is right here in this town to secure that for the long term. So that I'm not sure why everybody's pointing fingers at Greenbelt and Red River over this water problem. It's not their problem, it's locally here. And I'm not really educated about this. I haven't been here a long time. Mr. Cody can probably help us out on that. My understanding is the city of Quanah is made for 5,000 or 6,000 people to keep water flowing and sewage flowing. And when you don't have enough, but 2,200 people, like Mr. Jackson said over here, we don't have enough flow on water or sewage to keep everything up to par. Is that right, Mr. Kidd?
Yes.
Okay.
Y'all have a lot of 16-inch and 14-inch mains, and I mean, that takes a lot of water flowing through that pipe to keep it fresh.
Yes, sir.
And so, yes, if you had a part of chlorine coming into Quanah, you ought to have that just about everywhere in town, and you just can't get it because of the shape of the pipe, the size of the pipe. And then, even when you put a boost on it, it's gonna go up in your water tower. That water may sit up there for 2 weeks. It ain't gonna have any residual on it when it runs backwards.
Well,
out
if you
that pipe.
boost that water tower and put more pressure on it, it's just cause more leaks in the long
Well,
term. So
we only keep Quanah's water tower half full because your water system is in such bad shape that if it gets over, that's a 40-foot tank. If it gets over 20 in it, you have all kind of leaks. So then again, when you do have a problem, that's one reason you run out of water so quick, because you don't have any storage really.
does everybody in this room understand that? What Mr. Kidd said? It ain't their fault, guys. They're trying to help us the best that they can to get water to us.
I just want to say, I was appointed to the Greenbelt Board. I was appointed to the Greenbelt Board, been on there over 2 years now. And I'm an advocate for Quanah. But Greenbelt, from all I can understand, is doing what they need to do, is deliver quality water to the meter point. And just like it's delivered to the meter point in every other entity along that system. And I just don't, I think we've got to quit trying to assign blame on a problem that has developed over 75 to 100 years. And I'm also an advocate for Greenbelt because I have oversight responsibilities there, being on the board. And one of those oversights is to make sure that we have a director, a person in place that, and he doesn't need me to speak for him, but I just want to say that he's been there over 50 years, or about 50 years, 52 years, and he knows the system and most all of the community systems better than anybody else. And we're getting the best efforts. And on the, my responsibilities on the board there are to vote with those other members, to hire auditors, to hire the director, and to see that everything is done in a proper way. And I just, like many of you here, I was born, been here out of the cradle all my life. And we know, I'd ask the city, where do you get your money? You get it through tax dollars. And the times we live now, we have grants to apply for and government help, but all of those things take years, many times. And You can say, well, why didn't we have our taxes go up on a regular basis and have some money where we could maintain the system that we've got and we wouldn't be where we're at? Well, that's just the way life works. And many people are out working, doing their job, and they look to their city council and they expect them to attend to that business. And when it comes to telling people we've got to have an increase in our tax rate to do this or to do that, they've got to stand up and say that's what's required and let the voters decide. And I just think it's a problem that we're trying to assign blame about, and everybody wants to express what they know and what they feel like they know, and are not really looking at the real problem. And that is, it's going to take, like Councilman Curtis said, millions of dollars to fix it. And it's not going to, it developed over 75 to 100 years, and it's not going to be solved next year. But we've got to settle in. I think we've had people voted in on the council that have had an impact for good because they've made the problem a high priority, and that's a good thing. But I just think we need more listeners and people that are more supportive and realize what the real problem is and buckle down and start doing something about that. Yes, there's a reason why the front windshield is picked up for a car or a Peterbilt or a Honda, it doesn't matter. It's a hell of a lot bigger than the rear view mirror. What happened to the past? We can't fix that. That's right. We got to go forward, sir. And it's going to take everybody involved to go forward to fix the problem. And lying, claiming to fix it, but they ain't going to fix it. You're exactly right. I'm sorry, Mr. Linebacker.
Brian, this is from a simple mind. Can we not section off parts of the town and grid it out and then start replacing pipes? Is that a stupid, I mean, you know what I'm saying? To like start at least. Uh-huh.
Had a plan, had to go on it, so, the west side of town, that is our problem. Sewer, water. Mainly the Blue Road from Highway 287 back to Third Street. That is the problem. Maybe they'll come in here and replace the line for $9 million. Ball was rolling on that. City administrator got fired. We hadn't had a city administrator since then, so I don't know what happened to the plans and whatever. I mean, that's the best that I answer your question, but I have one more thing to tell people. June, I'll be here 5 years in June. If you people don't think I've been transparent with TCEQ, you're out of your mind. You think the phone calls are doing anything? I'm on the phone with TCEQ every day. They come here. I'm in contact with Nubia, Cheryl. I was on the phone with TCU today. Uh, 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 Lady out of Austin trying to provide us assistance. If y'all don't think I'm transparent with TCEQ, you're out of your mind. Believe me, this ain't my first rodeo, and this is not the last. This is an ongoing problem. We're on the map. People understand what's going on here. From the lab, TCEQ, to Bobby Kidd. It's not Bobby Kid's fault. This problem has been longer than what you can think. Am I right? Been a long time. Longer than my tenure here, you know what I mean? Uh, I don't know the answer. I've had training. I went up there with Bobby Kidd, just like he said, had training, had people here training us, trying to figure this out. Nobody can figure this out. But I am transparent with TCEQ, and they watch everything I do.
All right. I know there's a lot of emotions in here tonight. I want to apologize to you, Mr. Kidd. I thought when we were on the phone that we that you were here to talk. I'm sorry, it was miscommunication on my part. So I know we got a couple more questions out there, but I did not mean to put you on the spot or you on the spot, either one. So I know we got one more question over here.
I don't know who in the room can answer this, or maybe all of you. From a business standpoint, restaurants in Quanah, can there be an individual RO system at each site? I mean, if they were, if would that help them stay open if they could afford it, and there were maybe some assistance that we could help get them rolling on something like that? Would that help their water?
That would be a question for TCEQ.
Okay.
Yeah. Whatever I told you would be wrong.
Okay, I didn't know if that was something,
I-
just to help us, because
I've
we've
never-
got all these influx of people, and we have to feed them now, and
I know you don't
there's a lot
have
of
to
them
do-
closed.
I know for a fact you don't have to put a boil water notice in the whole town if you just have trouble in one spot. That, you don't have to do it all over town, but yeah, this, a lot of this has come about, this last go-around is because of that really cold spell we had. The flow was massive for about 3 weeks there. Everybody flowing water like crazy. Busted open, leaking wherever it went. It went somewhere. And so that causes your residual to go down too, excessive flows. I mean, it's a really hard balancing act over 100 miles, you know. It's hard to operate a chlorinator when you're standing by it, much less 100 miles down the road from it. Us doing a boost down, we have a booster out here, but it's a tough deal operating a booster. You need to be on it daily, maybe more than once a day. The guys at the plant, they look at them every hour. So, ammoniator and chlorinators, and they calibrate them several times a day. But it's a mess. There's so many rules anymore, and you have so much oversight, and sometimes the oversight's good, sometimes it's not. A lot of those people they're there to look at you, but they're not really there to help you that much.
Okay, so this is what I want to say to the people of Quanah. We're working against drought conditions that are not helping us, because we are on stage 4 water rationing, whichever it is. That's not helping us. It's not helping our water movement.
That makes it worse.
We have old pipes. We have not enough population, and now we're getting too much population to handle what we have. There are a lot of things. And then you add in the bureaucratic red tape, and we're working against a lot of things here. I want to say thank you to Brian, because I think he does an amazing job staying on top of this, because that's no small feat. He's doing a good job trying to keep this going. I see him checking the water all the time. I appreciate it. I know we all want a cool drink of water. But right now, we are working against a lot of things, and I just hope we can all work together and stay on the right track to get it done.
I'm just curious to know, all the people that are in here, we're under a boil water notice. I'm just curious to know, by a show of hands, how many people actually boil their water? You do? 2 people. Mr. Kidd, would you boil your water if you were in Quanah, Texas?
I'd get a drink of water out of the raw water pump station every once in a while. It hadn't touched any chemical or any chlorine. But
So tell us what
you don't have, just because you don't have residual does not mean you have bacterial problem. And you have a residual, you have a residual here, you just don't have what the state says you have to have. Residual means that you have met the demand and you've killed everything there, and it's good. Residual's good, period. I don't care what the amount of it is. The number is something, something the state puts on you. And something to keep in mind whenever you do chloramine, you're putting more disinfection in there, but you get no credit for it. Actually, it costs you. If you're just doing free chlorine, you only have to have 0.2. If you do ammonia, you have to have 0.5. So you absolutely get no credit for the ammonia part of it, which doesn't make any sense. But if you have a residual, you're fine. Nobody on our system, there's probably 100 samples taken a month, back teas. Nobody has a bacterial problem. Nobody's getting bad samples anywhere. Sampled all the way from the top of the hill to the bottom of the hill. And I've never, I mean, I've worked 50 years. I've never pulled a bad water sample. And I pulled samples out of the lake. We used to have to pull them around the shoreline. We pull them out of the raw water pump station. We just don't have bad samples. Chlorine or not, there's nothing in the water. Yeah. The only way you would ever have a bacterial issue is if you got water, sewer mixed together. You had a sewer leak and a water leak with the open pipe or something. There's just not a bacterial problem in the water.
Okay, Brian. I've been like really trying to understand your role and get into what you're having to deal with, okay? I'm not coming at you. No, no, it's not your job description. No, no. Um, it's about what we're under investigation for by the TCEQ right now, okay? Okay. So one of them dated back to the violation start date was July 1st, 2025. Okay. And that's whenever they came in on the 23rd, on the January the 23rd or so, or whatever, when they did the notice of enforcement. Okay. There's 5 different allegations that they have, allegation violations. Huh? Okay. So that's what I'm talking about. I don't think, so on the TCEQ website, okay, they have whenever we violate. No, 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 no. Are you able to access that?
We're gonna keep it civil. I unciviled it, and we're getting back civil, so.
No, I don't. No, I did not. This is hearsay.
We're calling it quits. No, 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 no. We're calling it quits.
I said I'm not attacking you. I just had a question.
We're calling it quits. We're here to fix the water issue. That's all we're here to do, fix the water issue. So we're that's all right. Hey, I don't have a gavel. I don't have a gavel. But we're done. We're done. We're done. We're done. We are done. So we're done. I apologize, but we're done. So.